you on.
Hello there, this is George Alcrum and I'll be teaching you today. So this time we're going to talk about plant cells and specialised cells as the topic. We're going to start off with the function of them, and as you could see in the previous lesson, if you haven't already watched, you can watch again, animal cells. Now I'm just going to scroll above briefly so you can see the main 5 functions or organelles and their functions. And you can see how these will also be incorporated into the plant cell, as well as 3 extra ones which will be known as cell wall, chloroplast and vacuole. Now you can already see the functions of these organelles, so I won't need to explain that to you already. If you want, you can pause the video and memorise them, which I recommend that you do. Now here is a diagram of a plant cell, and I've only labelled 3 organelles so that you can identify the rest on your own. If you struggle, please leave a comment and I'll help you to identify them. Now that's all you really need to know for a plant cell. However, there is one thing I'd like to talk about, which is chloroplast, which has chlorophyll, and I've mentioned here which is responsible for absorbing energy from the sunlight and turning it into its own energy. This process is known as photosynthesis. This is an important word that you will need to know when being asked if you want to describe the definition in the exam. So yeah, if you memorize these 3 functions of these organelles, it will be very useful and handy for you. You also have a yeast cell, and it's got a diagram below, and it's also got a bacterial cell below with a diagram below. Now, you will only, if you memorize from the animal cell the 5 basic organelles, you can see how this will also add on to all the other cells that you will need to know for GCSE level only. Now, the functions will always be the same because it's the same organelles being used again, but it's just nice to know how it looks. And if you're ever asked to list your own cell, you can use something like a yeast cell or a bacterial cell. Now I choose yeast over bacterial because it has a nucleus instead of genetic material, and that's the difference between a bacterial having genetic material, not a nucleus, for when it divides. Now you may also be asked on specialised cells and how they're adapted to their purpose. Now as you can see here, the function of the red blood cells is to carry nutrients around the body. That's the main function of blood. So when you eat food, the nutrients goes to your muscles or to all other organs, and it's all transported through your blood. Now an adaptation is what you can see here, what I've written, which is the red blood cell having a large surface area for absorbing oxygen. Because the larger the surface area is, the more space and chance it has to absorb the oxygen. They also have no nucleus, which is also another adaptation for hemoglobin, which is the pigment for absorbing oxygen. Now, sperm and egg cells are another form of an adaptation cell. Now there's 2 extra organelles, acrosome and flagellum. Now the function of the acrosome is to digest the membrane of the egg cell, and the flagellum is for the sperm to get to the egg cell. Now that right there already is 2 adaptations. Now I've written out the functions of the organelles again. However, you can see from the animal cell that I showed at the very beginning, or you can see on my channel the animal cell again, that what the functions are and how cells have them. Now here's a basic diagram of a sperm cell, and here is an egg cell and its basic diagram again. Now diagrams will always be basic at GCSE. You won't have to know anything serious or see anything serious or real, because it's far too in depth and too difficult at GCSE level. Now here are some adaptations here. Now you can see them, and it'd be good to know one or just one. I'll say if you know one, then you'll be fine if you ask you an adaptation, because you can see how the egg's main function is to nourish embryo at an early stage. This is an adaptation because it helps it. It's an adaptation how it functions and how it works. Every cell is adapted to its job, and this is how an egg cell is adapted. Now let's move on to another one. the function of sperm is to get male DNA to the female DNA, which we know. And as I was saying before about the flagellum, has a long tail, streamline head for swimming, contains enzymes in its head for the membrane, and it's got mitochondria, which gives it energy for the cell as well. So you can see how many different functions and adaptations can help a cell for its environment. Now that's all you really need to know, to be honest. You don't really need to know anything else, because as in cells and adaptations, plant cells, adaptation of specialised cells, as I should say, and an animal cell is all you need to know in core science. So if you want this explaining the animal cell further in depth, then I recommend that you go to I recommend you go to my channel and watch all my other videos on animal cells, so that you have a clear understanding of it. Now that's all for today, really. Thank you for listening, and if you need any more help or anything else, please leave a comment in the section and I'll get back to you. So please like and subscribe.